Hey friends, here I am again for another book review. Although I can't help but notice that my hair is extra poofy today, so I'll just help it along here. Anyhow, back to business. So today I'm going to be reviewing How to Be Ultra Spiritual, 12 and a Half Steps to Spiritual Superiority by JP Sears. Many of us know JP Sears. He is the funny guy with the videos. At least that's what I thought when I found him a few years back. JP Sears is a life coach, and so he can be serious sometimes. But he is an internet comedian and a huge sensation, and in my eyes, he uses satire to make a living. According to him, he became ultra spiritual in 2013, although his Kundalini was activated in 2005. So if you want to read more about him in that bio, buy the book, because it's at the end of the book. He writes a little bit more about himself. So this book was hilarious. I mean, it was a trip. I was laughing most of the time. Although I have to admit, there were times when I felt super bored. Sorry, JP. I have to be honest here. Yeah, I found myself skipping over a few pages here and there. I'm not quite sure why. I guess there was a lot of information, maybe? Anyhow. So, yeah, JP Sears just makes us laugh at all the ways we use spirituality to bypass a lot of things in our life, and he does it in a very intuitive, smart, and funny way. He starts out the book saying that spirituality is a competition, and in order to win this competition, we have to share wisdoms on social media. We have to hold eye contact. I'm becoming ultra spiritual right now. And we have to use essential oils, talk in a very airy tone of voice, post selfies and spiritual things that we do, change our name to a Sanskrit, like a god or a goddess name, and find fault with others, attend expensive spiritual retreats, and then end all emails with "in love and light." So I guess by checking one of these or all of them, you'll know how ultra spiritual you are. I think I already have an idea about myself. So then in chapter 2, he writes that becoming ultra spiritual means to uproot any and all of our feelings and needs because they are inconveniences. In order to cleanse ourselves of the feelings, we must use logic, happiness, express denial, deny denial, and be very OCD about food, and then connect to love and use light, bliss, and abundance. And of course, get addicted to working out. So that's something I used to be addicted to. I haven't been addicted to working out in a while. I guess I'm not ultra spiritual status. Chapter 3, he gives us some tips into how to awaken. And to begin with, he said you should come up with a great tale about how you awaken and make sure it's available to everyone. And make sure to add carefully contrived spiritual narrative. Those are his words. And make sure that the story elements of pain, adversity, transition, and awakened power, and all the powers that you were granted after awakening, were actually included in the story. And one last tip, he says, make sure you are convinced of your story. Okay. So then chapter 4, JP says we need to use yoga to be ultra spiritual, or to get to the ultra spiritual status. So, as defined by JP, yoga is the flow, and it's the stream of spiritual essence that floods into your life. Well, actually, it's not the definition of yoga, that's the definition of flow, because yoga puts you in the flow. So, and then he says, once you determine which style of yoga works best for you, you must follow certain principles. And he calls these ASS, so short. Abbreviation ASS is for aesthetics, your looks, stretching, like taking your stretches to the maximum, and also make sure you remember to use the Sanskrit names. And the last one is seduction. You have to make sure you get attention, because if you're not noticed in yoga class, then you will not qualify for ultra spirituality. Sorry. He also gives us a pro tip here. Make sure you look for a teacher who has a lot of spiritual tattoos. JP, I don't know where you get your ideas from, but they just crack me up. Chapter 5, of course, you can't be ultra spiritual without being vegan. So that's another quality you need to adapt. If you're not vegan, you're basically Hitler reincarnated. And he says, don't even claim that you're a vegetarian, because vegetarians are fake. They do not qualify for ultra spirituality. Then he goes on to speak about death. And I think this was like a very, very huge insight on his part. JP talks about death as the illusion. So when we're talking to other spiritual people, how death is just an illusion and we're eternal. But then when it comes to veganism, oh my God, how dare you kill these animals? Then it becomes a problem and it's harmful and it's no longer an illusion. Great insight. Then chapter 6, the importance of having a guru. So yeah, JP says that we must select a guru, and this person has to be a man. It can't be a woman. And the guru must be dead. That's a necessity, that they can't be alive. And they must have special powers, and they must come from a very far away foreign country, like India, for example. In chapter 7, he says that we need to stop thinking. So thinking is our enemy, and the keys to get rid of our mind are using attention, intuition, impulsiveness, knowingness, and asking the universe, and also recognizing impermanence. In chapter 8, he says that meditation is also something that you need to practice if you want to reach ultra spiritual status. And there are many styles to choose from, but also turning everything you do into a meditation also qualifies for ultra spirituality. In chapter 9, he says that we need to be non-judgmental and get rid of our ego, develop compassion, and then develop more compassion. And the next chapter, in chapter 10, he says you can never be religious if you're ultra spiritual. So out with religion. And then, of course, you have to use plant medicine to become ultra spiritual. And there's an exam at the end of this book in chapter 12 to test your spirituality and see how spiritual you are. And then chapter 12 and a half, he says that we must help others become ultra spiritual, and to do that we have to become humble about our status. And then he concludes the book telling us that PJ accomplished ultra spirituality by mastering all of his human faculties, as JP has described in this book. So that was the book. I found it fun to read. He does outline a lot of information about becoming spiritual, or ultra spiritual, as he says. Yes, like I said in the beginning too, I did find myself getting a little bored reading it, and that could just be me being impatient. It is quite a long book. It's 251 pages, including that last part about the author. So you want to make sure to read this one. And that'll be it for now. And I'll figure out what I'm reviewing next. I still have not decided yet. So until I get back, I'm heading off to Breathe, a slackline festival, and I'm excited. I'll be teaching a yoga class and a painting workshop, so it should be nice. They're going to be back to back because they're kind of interwoven. It's yoga to access your creativity. So if you're going to be at Breathe, I'll see you there. And if not, I'll see you on the next video. Stay tuned. We'll see what I come up with next. Have a good day. Bye-bye.